Welcome back, everybody, to the Rack with Mac here on AWSM Radio and AWSMradio.com. Also, shout out to everybody watching us on YouTube. This is part 2, so hope you're enjoying what you're seeing and listening to so far. Now, we were talking about the potential rebuilding era and rebuilding around the San Antonio Spurs with our guest, Rob, a.k.a. BBall Archives, and San Antonio Spurs super fan. We'd love to have him here tonight onto the Rack with Mac. So moving forward, I think we're all in agreement that the DeJounte Murray is the guy to build around. Now,
wait, why are we all in agreement?
I thought
we all in agreement?
Wait, Jeff, I thought you agreed with us. You were shaking your head all happy. What is this? Okay,
come on.
Whoa!
You have something to say.
Here's the question I've got for you guys on the rebuild side of it. Is he the actual number one option? Is he the best player on your team, and you're rebuilding about that, or are you trying to actually bring a star in and have him complement him?
We'll see. Okay, let me answer it this way. He would be the number one defensive option, number two offensive option. So what I'm saying is that he has the potential to be the number one player on the team, but I don't think he's a pure scorer in that way where he's going to be like, oh, let's get DeJounte the final shot. I don't think that, but I think he has the ability to get, obviously triple double night in and night out, distribute and get a lot of other people involved on a nightly basis, and rebound like very few guards can in the league. So I think all of those skill sets on top of his defense lead me to believe that he's a guy you can build around long term. But I still don't see that little bit in his game where it's that offensive takeover fourth quarter mindset where I'm like, all right, we don't need another big superstar. I still think the Spurs would need to bring someone in that would have that more offense first mindset. But at the end of the day, I still think DeJounte could be the best player on the team, even if we have a guy like that.
Okay. It'd be almost, it's a hard comparison to make because there's very few situations out there, but it kind of like a Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris kind of situation where you're like, hey, Tobias is the scorer. He's the second scoring option, but Ben Simmons is the second best player on that team as far as it being recognized. So it's a hard comparison to make. And I'll tell you guys, I think I differ greatly from both of you in this regard. I don't view him as even a second option. I'm like, okay, if I team him up with Kawhi Leonard, are they championship contenders? I don't know about that. Now I view him more of a Lonzo Ball. If he's playing that point guard role, if he's taking the tough defensive assignments, I'm on board with it. But you know what? He's raw. The potential's there. It's kind of just like, what do you foresee? And unfortunately, he's been in a losing situation. So I haven't seen what he can do when you're playing winning basketball. So I'd be curious how that would unfold too.
Well, let me say,
absolutely.
When I say DeJounte Murray made a leap this year, it's really in his defense and his playmaking abilities. It wasn't so much his scoring like Rob alluded to, but like I said, he's turned into one of the best defensive point guards in the league. He's right up there with Drew Holiday, in my opinion. I agree. Not a lot of people are tuning into the Spurs, but I think Rob will agree. Man, this kid, it's like night and day on defense.
I don't think anybody's tuning into the Spurs because I do believe that they might have had their only nationally televised game recently canceled or removed. They literally nobody's watching the Spurs because they can't. They are not televising those games.
But what I will say, what I want to finish about DeJounte is that he is an elite complementary piece. And that's what I'm And
okay.
That's the type of guy, like, you keep him. And I think a big star, I don't know. I don't even know who's available this offseason or whose name's being floating around this offseason. But if you get the Spurs, I'm just going to throw a name out there. You get him a guy like Karl Anthony Towns over to San Antonio. That's a duo you can build around. I think I think two guys that have been, I know you love that, but two guys who have been in a losing situation, that can also be dangerous because Cat's been in a losing situation his entire career, just as DeJounte has been. But like Rob said, I don't think you're looking at DeJounte Murray at the end of games and saying, all right, we got to get DeJounte the ball to take that shot. Yeah. No, but I think he can be the guy, and I think he's proven it a little bit. is that all right, let's get DeJounte the ball and he can create that shot, whether for himself or somebody else. That's how good he has gotten, is getting his teammates involved and his playmaking abilities, at least from what I've seen so far this year.
I love it. And he's not taking that shot because he's shooting 31% from 3 and 73% at the free throw line.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's not good.
Yeah, but I still feel like he's playing outside of shooting efficiency. I still feel like I like his intensity and I like his attacking nature, and he's not shying away from the fact that he has to be the guy right now.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said about that. But I don't know if he's going to be the guy moving forward, but I would like to see him be an integral piece.
He sure looks like a keeper piece. If you're going to go into rebuild mode, you hang on to him. Everybody else is expendable, just like you said.
Absolutely. I mean, man, it wasn't that long ago where the Mavs were exactly in the situation where the Spurs are right now. You had the end of an era with Dirk leaving. Lucky that it was only like 1 or 2 years where we were separated from Luka breaking out, but really it wasn't that much. We were kind of ushered from Dirk to Luka. However, we can't get out of the first round to save our lives. But there was even times with Dirk where it felt like we were rebuilding with Dirk.
We believe
the We Believe Warriors. But even then, we were the number 1 seed, so it was kind of like, oh, we'll be back next year,
Still couldn't get out of the first round. We believe.
No, man. All right. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it with the Blazers with you, but anyway, we're going to move on to a team that's at the top of the Western Conference standings. And I feel like no one is really talking about them right now. At least not the way that they should. I still feel, and that of course is the Phoenix Suns. And this is a team that went to the finals last year. And I feel like from the moment the finals ended and the Bucks raised that trophy, everybody was like, all right, that's it. We're not going to see the Phoenix Suns again. And here they are, the best team in basketball. I mean, Rob, what are your thoughts when you see this Phoenix Suns team playing the way they're playing?
I like to see that fight and that grit to get back to that position where you put yourself in a chance to win it all. I thought that, whenever Chris Paul lost, it took so much wind out of his sails that, was he going to rally back and put his team in a championship winning position? I didn't really think so. I thought the Phoenix Suns would have been, pretty good this season. They have such a good core around Paul, around Booker, around Ayton. I love that trio, but it's so much more than that. Just to have the talent, you have to have that will and that fight. And so to see that they still have that, clearly, they're on a 7-game win streak. They're just absolutely blazing. So yeah, I think that's the most surprising thing yet, is just that will to win is there. So clearly they're, not only playing efficient basketball, but they're going to fight you.
It's good to see the hunger there. I agree, because when teams come off some of those runs, you get the opportunity. You could be complacent. You could be like, all right, I'm not worried about the season. I'm worried about next year's playoffs. See if we can't get over the hump. But they're showing it night in and night out. I want to talk about Chris Paul and why I think he should be a top 5 MVP candidate.
He is.
He should be, and a lot of people are upset about that. Now, as underwhelming as his stats are, I want to read this stat off. JaVale McGee is averaging 10 points per game. Cameron Payne is averaging 10 points per game. Frank Kaminsky is averaging 10 points per game. Bismack Biyombo is averaging 10 points per game. Cameron Johnson is averaging 11 points per game. Mikal Bridges is averaging 12 points per game. Chris Paul himself is averaging 14 points per game. And DeAndre Ayton is averaging 17 points per game. And their leading scorer, Devin Booker, is averaging 24 points per game. Have you gentlemen ever heard of a team with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys averaging double digits? Oh, by the way, Jay Crowder's averaging 9.3 points per game, just for good measure.
I mean, it's incredible. Team basketball aspect. I mean, I didn't even know that going into tonight. And I really wanted to talk about Bismack Biyombo and DeAndre Ayton and the bigs of the Phoenix Suns. Like Frank
Kaminsky.
Kaminsky. I mean,
Yep.
that is directly a result of Chris Paul. Directly a result of Chris
That's
Paul.
the Chris Paul effect. That's you. Okay, Chris Paul's averaging 14 points per game. Well, I'm going to chalk him up for another 60 because he's got that engine rolling.
Well, listen, over 10 assists per game, leading the NBA at 37 years old. Everybody's talking about what LeBron's doing at 37, and sure, it's hella impressive. But Chris Paul leading the league in assists with over 10 per game at 37? That's just as crazy.
And what he's doing is actually translating to wins. It's not that he's not just performing and putting up really great stats. He's doing what the team needs him to do specifically in order for them to advance. And I think that's what's more important than anything is he's like, all right, I'll let my scoring take a back seat. I think his scoring dropped off about 4 points from last year, but he's like, I'm going to distribute more, and he's doing it efficiently. So I mean, he's just doing exactly what they need him to do.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. By the way, guys, I had Chris Paul as my MVP last year. There was some injuries like to Embiid that kind of got him in the mix, but I was giving the hardware to Chris Paul over Jokic last year. Wow. And it's because of impact. The Phoenix Suns had not made the playoffs in a decade. Chris Paul joins the team and they're playing in the championship game. That's an MVP kind of impact, and you're seeing it play out. I agree, Nick, 37 years old. He's the best player at that age. Like is
whoa, is that your hot take for the week? Is that your hot take for the week?
That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot.
One on the TikTok. We got to throw that one on the TikTok for sure.
You throw that on the TikTok. We do that. But when you look at what a team like the Phoenix Suns is doing compared to a team like the Lakers, Chris Paul is having a better season than LeBron James. And yeah, let's have fun with that one.
Certainly a more impactful year, I would say. And I just want to get a little more attention and a little more love to Devin Booker. The guy has come out and averaged 24 and a half points, 5.5 boards, 4.5 assists this year. Another guy that you could tell the loss in the finals at that age, making that kind of, run where no one thought they were going to get there. Seriously, every round, it felt like everybody was doubting the Suns. Even the Clippers round without Kawhi, they thought, people were doubting the Suns. And then in the finals, they go up 2-0 and they blow it. And that's all you hear about. But you don't hear about the grind it took to get that team there. And like Jeff said, going from not making the playoffs to being in the NBA finals. It was one of the quickest franchise turnarounds I've seen in a while. Where they were the laughing stock of the league for the better part of a decade. Remember the fans in the stands with the bags on their head?
Devin Booker had never played a playoff game.
Right. And then all of a sudden they go 8-0 in the bubble, and the next year they add Chris Paul, and here we are.